Welcome to Definitely Know a channel, where in today's episode we're going to cover what are if statements and how to use them. It's a thing in Python which allows us to set a certain condition or multiple conditions in order to check if a certain thing is supposed to happen or not. And I have some examples for you here. So first off, we actually deal with if statements in our everyday life on everyday basis, but we don't even realize that. So for example, I come home and then if I'm hungry, I eat dinner. This is an if statement which states a condition. If I'm hungry, if that condition is true, then I eat dinner. This is basically what if statements are. So now let's go to a more complicated one. I turn on my PC. If I have internet, I'm going to watch YouTube. Otherwise, I play games. So now we have a certain condition, and if that condition is true, we're going to watch YouTube. But if it's not true, we're going to do something else. It's the same thing as the first thing, it's just a little bit more complicated. So next up we have an even more complicated if statement. I order a takeout. If I am rich, I order caviar. Otherwise, if I am almost full, I order a salad. And otherwise, I order a hot dog. Here, as you can see, we have three conditions. The first one, if I am rich. If that condition is true, I order caviar. Otherwise, if this condition is true, I order a salad. However, if both of those conditions are false, then we're going to go to otherwise, I order a hot dog. If statements can get really complicated, but they're extremely useful and a valuable thing to learn. So I'm just going to show you one more example, and we're going to start some actual programming. So here I made an example of another thing you can do with if statements. I need to cross the road. If my light is green and the cars are stopped, I start moving. Otherwise, I wait. As you can see, there is actually two conditions in one if statement, and that is also something you can do later on. You can of course put multiple conditions. You could just keep adding ends and make it really long and complicated, but let's just keep it nice and simple for now. So now we're going to create the most basic if statement. So as I said previously, it's going to be a sort of a condition. So first, to have a condition, we actually need something to work with. So let's create a boolean, which can be either true or false, and we're going to work with that. Let's call our boolean is male. And I'm going to set it to true because I'm a male. And now we're going to create an actual if statement. So to do that, you simply type if, then you type out what's your actual condition you're asking of. So for example, if is male. So if is male is true, this if statement is going to be true, and it's going to execute all of the code which is inside of it. So after you put your condition, you have to put a colon. So if is male, remember it says if is male is true. This is what this condition is checking. So now, as you can see, PyCharm automatically indented my line. And this is because all the code inside of an if statement has to be indented, and all of the indented code is going to be executed if that condition, if that if statement is true. So let's print out you are a male. And now let's run the program, and as you can see, it prints out you are a male. That's because is male is set to true, and our condition is met, so it can execute the code. However, if I'm going to change is male to false, and now I'm going to run the program, it's going to not print out anything because our condition isn't met. Is male is false, so that means if is male is not going to work because the condition is false, and it's simply going to continue on with the code, ignoring this if statement. So now let's add a second option. To do that, you have to put else and then colon. And then again, inside of an indentation, you're going to print out or put any other commands which you require in your if statement. So we're going to print out you are a female. And now we created an if statement, which is checking if you are a male, and if you are a male, it prints out you are a male. However, else, if you are not a male, it's going to print out you are a female. Run the program, it says you are a female, because is male is set to false.